Hey you, the latest roadmap roundup has been dropped, and as promised during their commitment to fixes over features but more content, they've announced some new coming into 4.22. My bad, 4.122 just right. Anywho, Elite Dangerous also has some new that's making the game sound exciting again. So let's crack that jewel case real quick then get into some Star Citizen. Elite Dangerous seem to have recharged their development battery. They've been announcing new content at an unprecedented level lately. They got the Trailblazers update, which will let players colonize locations outside the bubble. The bubble's where most of human civilization lives in. I believe at the time of this vid, players will be able to buy beacons and start reserving star systems, build space stations and bases in the farther reaches of the galaxy. The colonization effort will demand heavy resource gathering to build starports and planetary locations. Hopefully they'll have new models instead of just taking the same locations and planting them in other locations that look the same, but they just take more jumps to get to. A modular version of the buildings that appeared in the Odyssey update would be a great start to all that. Elite has also been cranking out new ships to fill out the galaxy. The Python Mark II, Cobra Mark V, Type 8, and the very cool looking Mandalay will now be joined by the Corsair. I hope. I didn't find any official confirmation of the thing, but it's floating around like the dirt in the bathwater. The Corsair is the dopest looking ship I've seen come out of Frontier, and it kind of puts you in the mind of the Courier if they updated it 100 years later. It's designed to bring balance to the Force as a competent combat ship, cargo hauler, and explorer, so it should appeal to those who like to go out and spontaneously get into whatever tickles they fancy at a moment's notice. Might take some creative ship outfitting, but it's an interesting concept. The design is hot, but it's also super disappointing to know that you can't walk around this since there's no interiors in Elite. There's also 2 additional redacted ships set to release sometime this year as well. Elite players also have the Vanguard update to look forward to. Sounds like a guild system, or for Star Citizen players, an org system. The leader can establish goals for their org vanguards. They'll have a UI to organize and track everything, and possibly a bank for credit, ships, and modules, which is something we've always wanted for Star Citizen orgs for ages now. It's called the spiritual successor to the Squadrons update, and it seems to fulfill what was announced back then that they weren't able to get to at the time. It sounds like Frontiers received a massive transfusion of energy toward building up the game, maybe even completing what was initially pitched back in the day. I wish them all the best in their efforts. Now let's get into the verse. Star Citizen has seen some mission givers come and go, like Recco Battaglia, who vanished along with Delamar, just like the rainbow coalition of drinks known as Squeezits. Hopefully she'll return along with the new improved Delamar everybody got jiggy with during CitizenCon. We still got mission givers like Miles Eckhart and Tisha Pacheco that you can get some FaceTime with before going off to do some dirt in the verse, but 4.1 will introduce a new face to get some time with by the name of Redacted. Redacted means the name is hidden for now. I know, a new armor set is set to appear in 4.1 as well. It's, quote, a rugged and stylish new armor set tailored for brave adventurers facing new dangers. That sounds like maybe a medium armor set, maybe even light. Whatever the case, I'm loving seeing a diverse array of armors around the verse, unlike the old days where it was like small, medium, and large in a few colors. As long as they're not assless chaps, I'm excited to style it up. So space combat missions. New set of combat missions featuring improved scenario design and refined storytelling. Can't help but wonder exactly what they plan to do here. There used to be some ship-based missions that really stood out, like the one where you and another player had to simultaneously assassinate targets in different locations. Remember the one where you had to board the Caterpillar, find a prisoner in cryostasis, and defrost them Simon Phoenix style, then escape? I mean, the last one wasn't purely space combat, but it was dope. Then it was gone. I hope they get really creative on these new ones, because straight up pew-pews is cool, but submission depth and storytelling are definitely welcome. A redacted Sandbox activity is also on the list. Description is new open-ended activity, blended on-foot exploration with aerial support, creating sandbox gameplay opportunities for daring teams. If you got some guesses on how that could go, let the rest of the class know. I remember doing a mission with my boy while I was on foot, and he was in his fighter calling out and taking down targets. The mission didn't call for that exactly, but doing it that way created some quality moments, so whatever this turns out to be should be good. On to locations. Instead of just sticking a new mission giver in a random bar or lobby, CIG's created a custom crafted location for them. The new location will act as a hub for players to engage in these opportunities. Are we talking not so secret seedy hideaway within a city? Perhaps a standalone building in the middle of a pyro desert? What would be cool is if it's a gang leader that you have to talk to on his Gang Force One luxury ship that he stays on the move in. Just throwing ideas out there. Hather Group was a dirty-ass mining company that used environmentally catastrophic techniques to get the goods out of the ground. The frackers of the verse, if you will, on a larger scale. After a couple hundred years of this, the people finally had enough and the Hather Group was dissolved. The infrastructure remains though. Strategically placed alignment stations will provide some sandbox opportunities. I imagine it'll be a resource that orgs will fight for control of in the future. Maybe a location for maintenance missions before that, and who knows what else. When you're flying around planets and moons and you see how many locations there are now, plus the announcement of additional locations like this, you really start to see how the location density of planets they showed during CitizenCon is starting to come together. Hather Group also left behind a space station, large-scale mining laser facility, and I wonder if they would run the planetary mining lasers we've been seeing in Arena Commanders since you were but a wee lass. If you read the patch notes, you'll have noticed everyone is spammed up with the same post about where's the Volt weapons. Here's the Volt weapons, at least a couple of them. Volt makes the electric weapons, lightning out of the end of a barrel, and I gotta say lately the Uberev pistol has been putting boys on their back with that thing. The new Volt AR Parallax is an assault rifle with a mysterious name if you know what parallax means and are wondering how that applies to a weapon. It's described as a powerful new weapon boasting a unique blend of characteristics, firepower, and tactical potential. The smaller version is the Volt SMG Quartz. The barrel of the gun kind of does look like it's covered in cut metallic gems. You seen Uncut Gems? Dope movie. I'm wondering what happened to the chain reaction with the Volt weapons that they showed us back in the day, where if you caught a group of enemies with a charged up shot, it would deep fry all of them. For the Star Citizen 1.0 release, some additions were made to the roadmap as well. In the pursuit of not crying into our bowl of cereal because it's ways away, I'll just run through them to rip the band-aid off clean real quick. Like control surfaces, it's improving atmospheric flight dynamics with functional control surfaces, allowing for more precise maneuvering and realistic aerodynamics. That's the thing that'll let you stall in the middle of the air. Quantum Boost, a short burst travel mode designed for quick repositioning and high-speed engagements between distant points. Item misfire and wear, adding depth to equipment functionality with item misfires and gradual wear, requiring regular maintenance to ensure peak performance. Fire hazards, hazards to ships and environments, along with fire extinguisher mechanics, requiring players to manage and extinguish blazes before they spread. Charge and drain, expanding the utility of the multi-tool with the ability to drain and transfer power between objects, unlocking new puzzle solving and support roles. Life support, integrating life support systems into ships, making oxygen management and environmental controls critical for survival. Engineering gameplay, dedicated engineering roles aboard ships, allowing players to actively manage power distribution, repairs, and system efficiency in real time. Solar flare, powerful solar bursts within the pyro system, creating dynamic environmental hazards that players must navigate and prepare for. Now, if you're wondering why that didn't make the cut, because we did see that a long time ago after CitizenCon when they let everybody play pyro. It needs the engineering gameplay to go along with it. So as cool as it was back then, it seemed like it was working. Need that engineering gameplay to go with it. Anywho, vehicle radar and scanning rework, pretty self-explanatory. FPS radar and scanning, like ship radar, but in your helmet. Hangar upgrades, expanding personal hangar customization with new upgrades, layouts, and functional improvements. So this lets you customize and expand your hangar, which is good because the Selfland hangars, like if you're at Area 18, they just don't have good parking to leave ships out on the side. Weapon overheat, heat buildup and overheat mechanics for energy weapons, requiring careful trigger discipline and heat management during sustained firefights. Radiation, dangerous radiation zones in specific locations, forcing players to adapt with specialized gear and strategic navigation. I believe this is what will make ground vehicles necessary rather than a luxury in some places. And finally, new missions, location repair. Introduce repair gameplay into the persistent universe, first appearing in Pyro's Outpost. Alright, if you're still here, I appreciate you, man. Got a bigger vid in production that I hope you enjoy next week, so keep an eye out. Fly dirty, citizens.